How dare you touch my daughter? I'll have you arrested right now. I'll call the police and send you straight to jail." The booming voice of Richard Caldwell, millionaire businessman and powerful California politician, thundered across the marble floor of the Galleria Mall. His words sliced the air like a whip, silencing the chatter of shoppers and freezing every witness in place. The rage in his face was almost terrifying, eyes bloodshot, jaw clenched, fingers stabbing like a weapon at the man standing rigid in a cheap navy blue security guard uniform. The man was Marcus Hill, 38 years old, black, tired eyes with heavy bags beneath them. His hands still trembled from what had just happened. He couldn't believe it himself. In a moment of stress and bad judgment, he had done the unthinkable. He had slapped the daughter of Richard Caldwell. Just minutes earlier, the mall was alive with its usual noise, the clatter of shopping bags, laughter echoing from the food court, music from a clothing store pulsing in the background. Everything was ordinary, until Emily Caldwell, 17, blonde, spoiled, and used to getting her way, had tried to push past a restricted zone. "Miss, I'm sorry, nobody can go in there," Marcus had said politely, extending an arm across the velvet rope that blocked the jewelry store entrance. Emily glared at him with the entitlement only wealth can breed. "Do you even know who I am?" she snapped, her blue eyes flashing with disbelief. "I don't care who you are," Marcus replied calmly, though exhaustion bled through his voice. He hadn't slept in 2 days, working double shifts just to afford his mother's hospital bills. "No one's allowed in. Orders from management." Emily scoffed, shoving at his arm. "Nobody tells me what to do. My dad owns half the city. You either move, or you'll regret it." Marcus's patience cracked. The weeks of stress, his supervisor breathing down his neck, the endless money problems, all of it erupted in a single split second. He lifted his hand and slapped her across the face. The sound cracked through the atrium like a pistol shot. Gasps filled the air. Emily stumbled back, clutching her cheek, her eyes wide with disbelief. For the first time in her privileged life, someone had dared to put a hand on her. And then came the voice that turned Marcus's world upside down. "How dare you touch my daughter?" Richard Caldwell stormed into view, towering in his tailored navy suit, polished shoes clicking against the marble, aides trailing behind him like shadows. Emily ran into his arms, tears streaking her mascara. "Daddy, he hit me," she sobbed. Richard's fury could have burned the entire mall down. He whipped around and fixed his glare on Marcus. "You filthy coward. You laid a hand on my little girl? I'll destroy you. I'll make sure you never work another day in your life. I'll bury you so deep you'll never see daylight again." Marcus's heart dropped into his stomach. His mouth opened, desperate to explain, but the words dried up in his throat. How do you explain to one of the most powerful men in California that it was just a mistake? That you lost control for half a second? Richard pulled out his phone. "Police. Now. Galleria Mall. My daughter's been assaulted. I want a full response team." His voice was cold, efficient, practiced. A man used to bending the system to his will. Shoppers whispered frantically. Some recorded the chaos on their phones. Others stared at Marcus with open disgust. Within minutes, sirens blared outside the mall, the red and blue glow flashing across the atrium's glass ceiling. 4 police officers stormed in, their radios crackling. "There he is," Richard barked, pointing directly at Marcus. "That's the man who attacked my daughter." The officers wasted no time. They surrounded Marcus, weapons on their belts gleaming, their expressions sharp. "Hands behind your head." "Now," one ordered. Marcus lifted his hands slowly. His wrists trembled as the cold steel of the handcuffs clamped down. Shoppers gasped. Phones flashed. Somewhere in the crowd, a child began to cry. "Wait." Marcus's voice cracked. "I didn't mean," she tried to push past. "I was just doing my job." "Shut your mouth." Richard thundered, his voice so loud it silenced them all. He turned to the officers. "I want maximum charges. Assault on a minor. Endangerment. Whatever sticks. I'll see to it personally." Emily leaned against her father, playing her role as the wounded victim perfectly, her red cheek glowing under the fluorescent lights. She smirked ever so slightly when Marcus was dragged toward the exit. And right here, let me pause, because if you're watching this unfold, you're probably asking yourself, what would you do if you were Marcus? A moment of weakness, one slap, and suddenly your entire life could be destroyed. Tell me in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more stories like this. Also, where are you watching from? Back to the story. Marcus was shoved into the back of a squad car, the cuffs biting his skin. His mind raced. Images of his bedridden mother in a hospital room, his 8-year-old son waiting at home with homework he needed help on, his landlord threatening eviction. All of it now threatened because of a single mistake. At the station, the nightmare deepened. The interrogation room was small, gray, suffocating. 2 detectives sat across from him, one tapping a pen against the table. "Tell us what happened," the first detective said flatly. Marcus's voice cracked. She tried to push past me. I was just following orders. I didn't mean to. I just reacted. I swear it wasn't intentional. The second detective leaned forward, smirking. Do you have any idea who you hit? That's Richard Caldwell's daughter. You might as well have slapped the governor. Marcus's stomach churned. He dropped his head into his cuffed hands. Please, he whispered. It was a mistake. But mistakes didn't matter in Richard Caldwell's world. That night, news channels exploded with headlines. Security guard assaults millionaire's daughter in California mall. Videos of the slaps spread like wildfire on TikTok and YouTube. Talk shows debated it, news anchors dissected every angle, and Emily Caldwell appeared on camera with a bandage on her cheek, her father at her side, his voice booming with righteous fury. My daughter was assaulted by a man entrusted to keep her safe, Richard told reporters. I will not rest until justice is served. Justice, in his dictionary, meant Marcus's destruction. The district attorney, an old golfing buddy of Richard, filed charges within hours. Assault on a minor, reckless endangerment, abuse of authority. Each charge stacked like bricks, building a wall Marcus couldn't climb. In court, the spectacle was even worse. The courtroom was packed with cameras, journalists scribbling notes, spectators waiting to watch Marcus fall. Richard sat front row, his expensive suit immaculate, his presence radiating control. Emily sat beside him, her face pale and innocent, her eyes darting occasionally toward Marcus with a glint of smug triumph. Marcus's court-appointed lawyer was no match for the political machine pressing down on them. Every objection was overruled, every argument dismissed. The judge, a longtime ally of Richard Caldwell, barely hid his bias. When the verdict was read, the words crushed Marcus's soul. Guilty. The sentence, 5 years in state prison. Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Richard leaned back, satisfied. Emily smiled faintly, hidden behind her father's shoulder. Marcus's world collapsed in that moment. He thought of his mother, who would likely die without him there to support her. He thought of his son, who would grow up without a father. And all because he lost his temper for 2 seconds. As guards led Marcus away in shackles, Richard Caldwell stood tall, the embodiment of victory. For him, this wasn't just about protecting his daughter. It was about proving that no one, no guard, no worker, no ordinary man, could ever cross him without paying the price. And that's how the story ends. With Marcus Hill locked behind bars, his life shattered, while the millionaire and his daughter walked free, untouchable as ever. So what do you think? Was the punishment too harsh, or did Marcus deserve it for laying his hands on her? Tell me your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like this story, share it with a friend, and let me know, where in the world are you watching from? Because sometimes, one slap can change a life forever.